Hello everyone, Ollie here from 𝔬𝕗 Cinema, and today all three of us are back. I'm here with
Rusty
and 𝔸𝕗 with some Doritos.
Hello people.
Anyway, all three of us are back.
People of the internet. I'm so sorry. I can't talk while I'm eating. I'm sorry.
As you can see, all three of us are back. Like we said in our Venom review, we are here to watch
Gladiator II.
Yes, you said it from them too. Gladiator II. This is, I don't know if much anticipated. I'm not sure, because a lot of people are very divided by the fact that this exists, because Gladiator, as most of you know, that Gladiator is one of the most popular films of all time and most well-regarded films of all time. So having a sequel, and well, to most people, an unnecessary sequel to most, before even the trailer came out, people were very skeptical about it. So yeah, I had watched it a while ago, and I have just literally finished watching the film, literally as I left the house. And what are you doing now? Wait, what's fucking Doritos?
I'm trying to crunch them up so that I can finish them off quicker. The smaller they are, the quicker they're able to finish down. And why are you focusing on me? Get back to your review.
I can't concentrate for shit when you're doing... So anyway, where was I? So, so obviously the first Gladiator film is very well regarded as one of the best films of all time, and the fact that there's a sequel is very to most, but the fact that Ridley Scott is back has got some people's hooked interest. That made no damn sense, but you know what I'm trying to say. So, like I said, I just rewatched the film, but I watched the extended cut.
Extended cut?
There's an extended cut, yeah?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I watched the original one on DVD.
What's the extended stuff?
Well, it's not a director's cut, if that's what you're asking. Ridley Scott, because there's an introduction before the film starts.
Hi, I'm Ridley Scott, and what you're about to see if you press play is the extended version of Gladiator. This is not the director's cut. The director's cut is the length that went out in the theatres, and the one that you've already seen probably. This has a lot of scenes in it that were removed during the editing process and might be worth seeing.
Did mention at the very beginning that the theatrical cut is the director's cut. This is just the added scenes to the original film, just to extend the story a bit.
See, alright, I was going to say it right away, but as you may tell by that, 𝔸𝕗 is the biggest fan of the film out of us three.
It's a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, I liked it. I think it's a very well-made film. I think it was directed very well. I think Russell Crowe is very good as Maximus. I think Joaquin Phoenix as Commodus is just so disturbing and just creepy as hell. He's like one of the most... I don't know how to describe it, but he's just so, like, chilling. He's
disturbing.
Yes, very much so. So yeah, I don't want to go on too long, but to sum up, I really liked the first film. I didn't give it a rating in time because I didn't have time to review the film. As I finished the film, I had to run out and leave, so... yeah, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10, and I'm hoping that Gladiator II is just as good as this film, but we will we will see. Yeah, I don't have anything else really to say. Maybe something that these guys may bring up, I might have to bring it back to me for a second. So, yeah, which one of you two want to go next? 𝔸𝕗 was going to go next, so he's going to describe his thoughts on the film, or which version of the film he's watched and which one he prefers and whatever. So, yeah, hand it over to 𝔸𝕗.
Hello, people of the internet. Sorry about that earlier. I just could not talk while I was eating. But yeah, I do regard this film as an absolute masterpiece for a lot of reasons. A lot of great direction, fantastic acting, and great storytelling. Personally, I love this film over most films these days. It just makes all the other films look like shit. Not that if you guys like the current films, I'm happy for you. I just love this film. It's my favorite film of all time. It's amongst my letterbox list of my personal favorite films. Now, Russell Crowe as Maximus Meridius is absolutely fantastic. His performance was just outstandingly great. And Joaquin Phoenix as Commodus, as the antagonist of the film, is just, yeah, like you said, chilling. But that's the point of his character. He's constantly seeking love from everyone. His father, his sister. I fucking hate incest. Anyway, last week, he's seeking love from Rome because through the arena right after his father's death, who he kills, by the way, because of his jealousy over Maximus, which makes sense. Maximus wants to kill Commodus because Commodus robbed him of his family. Which makes sense, because Commodus wanted Maximus by his side. He saw him as a brother figure until Maximus knew what Commodus was up to and what he'd done. And the plot was just absolutely fantastic from start to finish to me. I could talk about it all day, but I'm not going to drone on for so long.
So, regarding Gladiator 2, let me know, like, what your initial thoughts are. Like, are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you a bit of both? And yeah, just share your thoughts.
To be honest, man, I am a bit of both, to be fair, because I would have counted this film as a legacy film, because when you see legacy films, they're normally based around the next generation. So like the Creed films, and then there's The Force Awakens, when you have Rey, who later becomes the Jedi Padawan of Luke Skywalker. So you kind of can see a pattern with these films. So like, this one is the story of Lucius from the first Gladiator film, which I believe he's going to take Maximus's steps in terms of the story. But I just don't want a rehash of the original story. I feel like that is going to happen in this film inevitably. But I'm hoping they'll at least add some changes to it, or at least just make it engaging. I know Pedro Pascal is in this. I don't know what his character's name is, though, unfortunately.
I forgot his name, but yeah, it is mentioned.
But yeah, I don't know who the character's name is, really. But like,
Do you know anyone else in the film?
I know the woman who's the sister of Commodus is going to be in this. I'm pretty sure that she's going to be trying to inspire her son to take on Maximus's steps and his legacy in order to save Rome from a couple of suspiciously pale emperors. I don't know what... How are they this pale? Is beyond me. Especially with ginger hair. Makes them look unhinged. Yeah, anyway. I feel like that this may some way feel like the first film. I don't know how the film will open. Maybe he might get overthrown by these two tyrannical kid characters. And then he's gonna eventually fight Pedro Pascal's character in the arena. I'm pretty sure I saw that in the trailer somewhere. I'm just hoping the characters are done well. The story done well, everything done well, like in the first film. I'm excited, yet nervous. And yeah, those are my thoughts.
Okay, so we've had to move because there were 3 smackheads ruining our space. So anyway, where was I at? So, oh yeah, I was going to talk about my thoughts on Gladiator 2 before I handed it over to Nerdtube. So before Rusty shares thoughts on the first film and then his thoughts on his before thoughts on this the second film, I'll just quickly discuss my coming in thoughts of Gladiator 2. So I'm curiously optimistic because I've heard a few things, but I don't really want to say anything too much around Rusty because he's trying his very best not to know anything really. The cast that I want to mention, Paul Mescal, who's going to be playing Lucius, obviously Maximus' son, and also Connie, I've forgotten her name, the actress, but the what's her name again? The lady.
I can't remember her name, but I know she's the sister of Commodus.
Yeah, so her, I'll put her on screen. So Lucius, he's grown up. It's set 24 years after the first film, so he's much older, and he comes back to Rome basically. And anyway, so Lucius being played by Paul Mescal. Now, if the film doesn't live up to the first one at least, or if it's all right, I'm sure that Paul Mescal as Lucius is gonna be a great performance, because in a couple of other films that I've seen him in, he's actually quite good, so I'm not going to be doubting his performance. So if anything that's not going to be good, it's going to be Paul Mescal as Lucius. Because I watched him in After Sun, very good film, and All of Us Strangers as well, so that's a very good film, but I won't go into too much detail on that. So then obviously, as _𝕚𝕚𝕚 mentioned, Pedro Pascal, he's going to be playing the name that we can't remember. He's going to be playing the is he the general, like the Emperor General?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the general in the Roman Empire.
Yeah. So oh, there he is. I was about to say, where's Rusty? That's cool, because I really like Pedro Pascal as well. He just seems like a really cool, charismatic guy. The films that he's been in, and show, obviously The Last of Us is very good, so him as Joel Miller is great. And then you had Wonder Woman 1984. What else has he played? So he played Joel, he played that guy. I can't remember. Oh, got Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones.
Don't remember again. Oh.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal is great. So Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, and then obviously the lady who played Lucius's mother, she's going to be back. You got Joseph Quinn. Obviously, he's known as Eddie Munson in Stranger Things, and he's great. And he's going to be playing one of the emperors in the second film. And yeah, I'm sure he's going to be great. And he's also going to be. There's also going to be another emperor in the film, which I don't know his name as well. But they're both ginger, so I'm curiously optimistic about the film. And yeah, I'm going to pass it on to Rusty now, and he's going to share his thoughts on the first film and also his coming in thoughts of Gladiator II. So yeah.
Good evening, even though it's not evening, but you get what I mean. Good morning, good afternoon. I don't give a dashy.
Good morning, good afternoon, evening. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I thought the first one was alright. I enjoyed it. I gave it like a 7 out of 10. I thought it was good, but it's not that good. Alright, I enjoyed it. Definitely had a great story. The fights were also pretty good as well, because I like my fights. You know, it's Gladiator fight. Why not? It was cool. Pretty good. It was good. It was good. Good film, but it's alright. But it's definitely one of those films where it's like, it's a complete story, innit? Don't need a sequel. Why do you want a sequel? So, which is why I was just like, bit odd to have a sequel to a film that it doesn't need a sequel. Alright, it's one of those films where you see it just like, it don't need a sequel. It's a complete film, complete story. So why is there a second one? I guess we'll find out. Yeah. We'll find out. Hopefully it's worthy of being a sequel. Lucius, the main guy of this one, in the trailer, unfortunately I saw a bit of the trailer, said, well, it was a woman's voice saying, "Take up your father's mantle," and it had Maximus in the, named Maximus. But the thing is, though, do we know if Lucius, if Maximus was Lucius's dad?
Now you brung that up before, there might actually be a potential chance of Lucius being Maximus's son. I mean, if I just want them to do it right. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, because they hinted at a past with the sister of Commodus. Yeah. But yeah, for the second one, Pedro, I wanted to avoid everything I could on his character because I wanted to see what it is. I'm going to guess he's probably like the main villain of this, which would be pretty cool because you don't really see him as a villain character. He plays usually like a good guy kind of character always. Joel, I mean, that's debatable, but I forget his name, but he played a character in Game of Thrones. I watched that recently, very good. But he was a good guy as well, and he's been in other stuff, but even in Wonderworld, he was a good guy. He was really a good guy. To see him in like a villain kind of role would be very interesting to see, at least for me, because I do like Pedro as an actor. He's really cool. And also I did see that obviously we're going back to the same place, from the first film, and I know they rebuilt it and stuff, so it's going to be pretty cool to see that now, but in like HD 4K and stuff, so that would be pretty cool to see. I just hope it's good, right? Hope it's good, because as I said, first one didn't really need a sequel, so why is it getting a sequel? Hopefully it's worthy of a sequel. Hopefully this sequel is worthy of being called Gladiator II. I don't think I have much to say, really. We're probably going to head into the cinema now. Ollie's got the tickets, he's got a ticket, so we're going to go in, sit down, hopefully enjoy the film. Roll the preview.
It is an art, choosing gladiators. They're usually prisoners of war.
I claim this city for the glory of Rome.
You will be my instrument.
I will never be your instrument, but I will have my vengeance.
This is war!
Just wow. Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, lads. Alright, we'll meet you out in the car park. Yeah. Okay, we are now out of Gladiator 2. So, ℚ2's going to go first, and then we'll figure out who's going to go next. So, yeah. So, ℚ2, the bigger fan of the film, the first film, than all three of us. So, yeah, pass it on to ℚ2.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed this. I thought it was quite good actually, but I want to get the negatives out of the way first. Now, first of all, the whole revenge plot thing. I didn't really see the point of it.
Which revenge plot? Which one?
The very first one, at the first act. So like the first act is what really, I don't want to say bore me, because that's coming out as too negative. Because, like, the first act, I didn't really take that much interest in. Because it just feels like it's trying to be another rehash of the first Gladiator film. I can see Rusty's suffering there.
No, I think he's trying to... He wants to say something, but he can't, because you're...
Yeah, I know. Now, I understand that they're trying to set up something, which, I mean, it's admirable. But I think I would like it if Lucius was already in the Gladiator type area, like where Maximus was started before, and then build it up. So like instead of his revenge goal, which did seem kind of pointless and feels like it's been forgotten about in the third and halfway of the second act. So like you could just remove the Lucius's love interest, and I don't think much would change. Or it would. I'm not saying she's bad. I'm not saying it's bad at all. I'm just saying it could have been done better. So like you could have Lucius try to rise up against the corrupt Roman Empire system. So like the twins, of course. But for me, the negatives are just the first act overall. But that's it. That's pretty much it. Now my positives. I've got a few positives actually. So like, number one is of course Lucius. I thought he was pretty much written well in this. The actor gave quite a great performance during this. And the fact that he couldn't forgive his mother, which, I mean, it's reasonable. I mean, she just gave him away during childhood. But that's just to protect him. But because he's a child, he doesn't necessarily realize that. So he's not in that area of brain power yet, if you understand what I mean. And then I love how he fights his way to the top to try and kill what is Pedro Pascal's character again? General 𝔽𝕗. But then after realizing that General 𝔽𝕗 loved Maximus,
He would die for Maximus.
yeah, exactly. Good, thank you, Rusty. And yeah, I thought that was quite good. So General 𝔽𝕗, I thought that was quite good. I thought he was I thought he was alright in this actually. He didn't do too bad in terms of writing, in terms of the performance by Pedro Pascal. Everything was just well done. Denzel Washington's character, yeah, in the second, yeah, like the first act, we're retracting back that again. But in the second and third act, I really like how his rise to power. So, like, not normally, he sort of reminds me of a Jafar-esque character. Where, like, he manipulates the rulers of a kingdom so that he can rise to power. And I like how he turned the twins against each other. And how he rose up and tried to manipulate Lucius. But Lucius displays his own form of strength by refusing to be a tool, an instrument. And in the end of the film, I think his death was well earned, and it gives us an epic climax feel. And the twins, I really felt like if Commodus's personality was split into two, so like the intellectual and the madman.
Yeah.
And I really like how Denzel Washington's character manipulates the madman, because he knows that he is mentally unstable and is a lot easier to manipulate, and therefore kills the intellectual one. And therefore, when all seems lost, he kills the mad one, and then he does try to escape to challenge Lucius in front of his followers, which also proves to be a battle of wits and strength. Yeah, I think most of the characters have done well, written quite well, but I do like how Maximus is sort of like a legend in this film, because it does paint on how Maximus's reputation shows, and that's really good. And the action, I love how Ridley Scott in this film was not afraid to hold back the violence in this film. Because, of course, in the first film, it was violent. This is a gladiator film. It's supposed to be violent. And those who shy away from violence in a gladiator film, then you may not potentially understand what the point of a gladiator film is. It's supposed to be violent. And how graphic it all is, I really love the detail and everything. The cinematography was fantastic. The score, just wow. Yeah, but I really thought this composer did a very good job in terms of tributing to Hans Zimmer's score in the previous film. But overall, I think this was a worthy sequel to the first film, although the first act did struggle with me. I think the second and third act I really stuck with. I think this film is a worthy sequel. I recommend this to anyone. If you love the first Gladiator film, you will like this one. Now, I don't want to be too harsh or just too needy, but I will give this an 8, actually. I'll give this an 8 out of 10. I mean, it's a fair score. I think the only reason it's on an 8 is because of the first act, like I just mentioned. Yeah. I know most of you would disagree with me about the first act, but that's just my personal opinion. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for this film. I think it's great. He did a great job. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Okay, so my thoughts on Gladiator 2. So, trying to remember everything because I usually like to let one of these guys speak first, because sometimes when I come out of the cinema watching a film, sometimes I don't gather my thoughts as well as perhaps maybe these two. So sometimes having their thoughts out kind of gains my thoughts, I guess you could say. So, or help get my thoughts out. So, Gladiator 2. So, like I said at the beginning, I quite liked the first film. I need to finish reviewing that film when I get home, and then I'll review this one. But I think I gave that either a 9 or a 10, the first one. But I'll say my rating for this one in a second. So, the film itself, I'll get the bad stuff out of the way first, just so it's done. I guess the big standout for me, the weird stuff, was like the sharks and the weird monkey. The monkeys that were really weird as well. Like elongated faces. I was like, what the fuck? They
are real though. They are real monkeys.
Are they?
Yeah, they're real.
Yeah, it's a real monkey.
Yeah.
Oh. I've just never seen a monkey like that before in my life.
I think those ones were just shaved. Because in the background you can see an unshaven one. But I think because they look like how disgusting they are, I think it was just because they were shaved. But those are real monkeys.
I know, it just looked like their faces were too wide, and I was like, that's weird.
I did forget to mention about the boat scene, but anyway,
right.
this isn't my...
Well, anyway, the monkeys, alright, you've kind of clarified, so thanks for that. So, but the sharks, though, even the guy the manager or the cleaner in the room when the film finished, he said that my only negative for the film was the sharks, and yeah, it was a bit too far, a bit weird. And there was even they had a little detail, like a little island with the fucking palm tree. I'm like, what is that?
It looks like it's been made from cardboard.
Yeah, I was just like, Ridley, I mean, I don't know whose decision that was, Ridley. I mean, he's director, so I'm guessing it was Ridley, but if it was a little bit too far, Ridley, personally.
There was a historian that was like, yeah, that's not right, and Ridley says, I can build a coliseum, I can also put sharks and water in it. So
Yeah, well, Ridley thinks he can do whatever the hell he wants, and sometimes I do think it's a bit. Come on. Yeah, he did Napoleon.
oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It can sometimes come off as arrogant sometimes.
Oh yeah, well that's Ridley Scott. To be honest, he has a very if you've seen him in interviews, then you know. Anyway, yeah. So the some of the animals I felt a bit off, like. At least in the first one, it's just gladiators fighting and everything, and all of a sudden they're all these different. I mean, we had a rhino, which was not that really. It wasn't that. Yeah, it made sense with that because obviously you know what that is. But he had sharks in that country. Was it? No, it's Rome. So it's like I don't know. It just felt a bit weird. So the animals are a bit. What were you saying about the first act? You were saying that it was a bit. Oh yes, so. The first half an hour, I will say that it does feel like a bit of like a rehash of the first film, which I have heard before watching it, so I didn't want to say that to you guys, especially you, because you obviously didn't want to know too much about it. And you did say, you said, like, I'm reckon it's going to be like a rehash or something, and yeah,
I'll say it when I get to me.
Yeah, so, yeah, I do think the first, like, half hour is like a rehash of the first film, which... It doesn't really bug me too much, but it is a bit like I wish they could have done something a little different. But the rest of the film, after the half hour, I'd say, roughly, I thought was very entertaining. As Russell Crowe, as Maximus says, are you not entertained? And I'm like, yeah. For the most part, I was entertained. Despite, like I've said, some of my issues with the animals I felt were a bit weird. But anyway, the music's great, not as good as the first one, but I do think it's great. It did feel like the first film, which is great considering it's not Hans Zimmer. I've forgotten the guy's name, but music was great. The acting was very good as well. Like I said at the beginning, you weren't around. I think you were coming around here. It was when we were moving over there. I think you were on your way. But when I was over there in the corner, I was talking about the actors, and I said Paul Mescal, who plays Lucius. He's great, and I've seen him in a couple of films before, which... I do recommend. It's After Sun and All of Us Strangers, are very good films. So yeah, even if I wasn't going to like the film, or if the film wasn't going to be that great, I'm sure that his performance would be great, because I've just seen him in a couple of films, so he was great. Denzel Washington as...
I am searching the leaflet you get. Come on, there should be a page for it. I'll find it. No. Here we go. Alright, Stand With Honor. Denzel Washington as the rebellious Macrinus.
Macrinus, there you go, thank you, Rusty. So yeah, Macrinus, played by Denzel Washington. He was great, he was funny, but then by the end you kind of hate him because of what he did. But I think he still, I mean, as a performance, he did great. I was a little mixed. I think a lot of people were mixy because it's Denzel Washington and he can be a bit comical, and with Gladiator it's a different tone, but I thought for the most part it worked. And then we had, I've forgotten her last name, but Connie, who plays Lucius's mother. She's the...
Because it was mentioned in the fucking title call and the film.
Yeah, so yeah, she was great as well. She had more screen time, I think, in this one than the first one, because I think Russell Crowe and Joaquin had more screen time, but yeah, she did great in this. Joseph Quinn, who plays one of the twin emperors, not the crazy one, but the other one. Yeah, that guy. He says, "The God has spoken." Yeah, that guy. He's great. He's in Stranger Things. He plays Eddie Munson. He's great. In season 4.
He's supposed to be in the new Fantastic Four with Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, he is actually as well. Yeah. So yeah, he was great, and also the other twin as well. I don't know the actor really well, but he did great as well. He played obviously the crazy one. They did great. Like you said, I do agree with the fact that they do feel like what communists. Remind me what you said.
Dual personality.
So yeah, I agree with you on that with communists, and the fact that it's almost like they've split the personalities of communists into two people, and you know, it's great. And the way that obviously Macrinus manipulated them was quite cool. I wasn't expecting most of it, like him killing them. I was like, oh, who's gonna die in this? I was like, ooh. I was like, is Lucius gonna die? I was like, no, because I will say something before I do say my rating, but yeah, I was thinking, are they gonna do like another thing with Maximus where they're gonna kill him off? I was like, so Yeah, I'm actually glad that they did that. I now know why, which I'll say in a second. But yeah, all the characters are great. I can't name them all, but everyone did great. I couldn't really point out a bad acting role. I mean, I don't know if Rusty, you might pick one out. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, those two are just like, I don't know. So yeah, acting's great. The score's great. The story, I thought, was good. I think I was confused with. I mean, it said throughout the film, but at the beginning I was like, wait, why is he here? I was like, why is Lucius here? I was like, where's his mum? I was like, why is he there? But then they tell you near the end of the film, I was like, okay, that's good, because I was worried. I was like, is that gonna be like a plot hole where they're like, it's like, what? How is he here? Where's his mum? I was like, what? So yeah, but that answered my question at the end of the film, so that's not really a negative. But I just thought I'd point that out. Yeah, I think. Again, I think the story's good. I do need to... This is just initial thoughts. I can't really say my full thoughts yet. I do need to think on it more. But overall, a thumbs up. Thumbs up. Yeah. What would I give this? I give this... During the cinema, I was just like, shit, what do I give it? Because I'm kind of between two ratings. I'm going to give it, for now, I think... Because, again, I'm still thinking... 8 out of 10 as well. I'm going to say 8 out of 10. That's great. So yeah, we were waiting for a post-credit scene. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. So we're waiting for post-credit scenes because in an interview, before the film even came out, Ridley Scott did announce Gladiator III. What? So there is a third film coming. There is a film coming. There is a film coming. Yes. I didn't want to say it at the beginning because I didn't want to think, oh, there's going to be this at the beginning. So, yeah, I'm glad to say, because you're now like, oh my god! So, yeah, I was like, okay, so, in an interview with Ridley Scott, I'll share it with you guys on the chat later on, or I'll show you after we finish recording. Yeah, he did announce saying that, oh yeah, it's going to be, actually no, the interviewer said, I don't know who it was, but anyway, the interviewer said, so are we going to see, is there going to be a third film? Is this going to be the final one? And he said, yeah, I think the third one is going to be the final film that will hopefully close everything off.
Teased Gladiator 3. Is that the definitive end to this story? Is this chapter 2 of 3?
This is chapter 2 of 3. Who knows where it'll go? Because nothing is impossible. And we ended on a question. Mm-hmm. And the question's a big question because he's in denial of anything that represents the Roman Empire, which was evil. And I'll leave it there. Where does he go next?
So... I can officially announce on behalf of Ridley Scott that there's going to be Gladiator 3. Yeah, I don't know how much else to say. If Rusty brings up anything, I'll say at the end. Anyway, but going to pass on to Rusty now. So yeah, thumbs up for me, 8 out of 10 for me, and then 8 out of 10 for NerdTube. And yeah, can't wait to see what Rusty thinks. So yeah, pass on to Rusty.
Hey, all right. So NerdTube's just gone home. So where do I start? Overall, I really enjoyed it. I really did. Alright, so let's try and go... Well, everyone else did negatives first, so I'll do negatives first as well. The sharks! Sorry. I'm sorry, because as the film was going on, I think everything was great so far. And then naval in the... water in the Colosseum with the boats, I thought, bit of a stretch, but... Okay, I can live with that because, in Greece, they have, they have so I thought, I guess the emperors could, do that. I think, all right, okay.
I don't think we were expecting it. It was just, yeah.
And then I saw the cardboard cut out of palm trees. I thought, no, that's a bit far. And the sharks, I thought, because I tried to imagine, Roman people grabbing the sharks, shoving, I thought... Nah. Okay. I think that's literally the main negative everyone's going to have, because I think the battle scene itself with the ship that it was, I thought was all right, and the turn with the crossbow to try and shoot Pedro's character, I forget his name.
General Achesis.
Achesis, yeah. And I thought, instead of trying to shoot the emperor, shoot the general. Because part of the revenge plot he had. So it makes sense, I guess, but otherwise, not a great thing, really, for the sharks and that's the only iffy bit in the whole film, in my opinion. But it comes and goes. The revenge plot, let's talk about that quickly. Obviously, at the start, we see Lucius fighting the general and his armies. He loses, and he also loses his wife, which they set up a little bit. And I can understand it. We couldn't really film much for it, but it establishes that they like each other. And then he gets angry at the general, especially since he gets captured. So it's alright. It's alright. It's there. It just moves things forward, really. That opening scene, once they started firing the catapults, I thought, oh, this is like when they fought the barbarians in the first film. Because originally, I don't know if I said this to you, I might have or not, but I felt like, yeah, it'll be a sequel, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of like, it's the same thing but different. So I felt, and I think at the start it was kind of like that. You had that opening battle scene, the aftermath of the battle scene. So I got with it, but it was a bit slow at the start. But I mean, when they throw you straight into the action, But the difference was, I was actually interested in this one. Sorry, I don't know why. Well, okay, I do know why. Pedro, the general. I'm a big fan of the actor, and so I thought, oh, a villain Pedro, a villain, because he doesn't usually play villains. So I thought, oh, this is cool. And so far, and like throughout that whole battle scene, I thought this is cool. And the only thing that changed was when, after the battle, obviously they burned the bodies, he felt a bit sad. He looked a bit sad. I thought, you're not the villain? That was like the first. I thought, you're not the villain? And then it made me seem like Lucius was the bad guy. To me, I was just like, I don't really like you much, Lucius. I like this guy. But and obviously it tells like two stories at the start, because like Lucius' side, what's happened, and then the general side of what's happening. Okay, so it has started to rain a little bit. I'm very much feeling it. So we will have to move down to a little bike rack cover. But previously, when we were down there, we had a Karen say, "You're not allowed there, it's private property." I was like, private property, this finger. Yeah, it's definitely coming, so I think we should move. Okay, so we're under the manky bike rack. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I really like Pedro's character. I thought it was really cool. And obviously the revenge plot, which obviously as you go through the film, you're like, oh, he wants to kill that guy. Oh, no, don't kill. No, don't fight. Okay, when you get to the point where Lucius and the general are fighting, it's not like a kind of fight. It's just like, oh, no, don't fight. No. Like it's still. Oh, by the way, I love fighting. It's one of my favourite things. I mean, my favourite game franchise is Mortal Kombat. I love fighting. The fighting in this, spectacular, absolutely. I really loved it. I thought it was very well done. It was gruesome, it was brutal, and every punch had an impact. It was great.
What do you think was the most one of them all?
I think it might have to be the slicing of the hand at the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just clean off. I thought,
with
very brutal. Yeah, yeah. But I also think it was like near the start when he's fighting in the Colosseum, when he's fighting the undefeated champion, with the rhino, and obviously the Caesar is just like, you have been mercied, the gods have spared you, and then no, yeah. Overall, very good action. Acting's phenomenal. I thought it was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, who's your favourite character?
Favourite character? At first it was the general, because Lucius is alright, It's not until later, as the character grows and stuff, that's when you start liking him a lot more. But the general, I really like for some reason. Again, it obviously helps with that it's played by Pedro Pascal, but spoilers, he dies, and I was just like, because for some reason I just thought that was like near the end of the film story, so I thought, damn, okay. But anyway, still, he dies. I was a little disappointed, because I thought, damn, like what's next? And as the film kept going on, all these bad guys, well, they were bad, started dying, I thought, well, who's the bad guy then? Like, who's the main villain? Because in the first one it's Commodus, very much Commodus. In this one it's a bunch of them. You know, the general at first, technically, Macronus, and the emperors, two of them, both of them. The set pieces, they look great. Like, the one thing I think both of those films really, really are good at doing is immersing you in that world, and they did a great job of that. Now, while the first one focuses on Maximus, this one mainly focuses on the downfall of Rome, the empire. So of course, obviously, you have like your main characters, but you know, it's not solely about his story. You know, it's continuing the world that they've built. And I think, in my head, because as we get to the end of the film, you know, no more fighting. You know, there was a dream once. You know, the film does great at connecting. You know, the first film and this, and you know, and it ends, you know, like yeah, and then they're in the Lucius. He's in the Colosseum. You know, he touches the blood of his mother on the wheel, and then he goes to where his dad. We found that out. His dad died as well, and it's just like, Father, talk to me. And then obviously it cuts to that really famous shot of like the hand over the wheat.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, that's beautiful. Oh, and the music as well at the very end. I thought, oh, that was a good choice. But in my head, that's done. That's a complete story. You know, you've told like where, you know, like the corruption of Rome has started, and then you showed like, you know, that's the end of the ball. It's peace now. The downfall of Rome, everything. I thought, he told a complete story in 2 films. Because when you're watching this film, sorry, keep it in mind what you're trying to say. The first one, like, yeah, you had the story, but there are the parts of like, well, what happens to the rest of Rome and stuff like that. And I think the second film tells that completely fantastically. And I'm just like, great, 2 films, solid story. And then 10 minutes ago, I was just like, oh yeah, third one's coming. I was like, huh? And now in my head, I'm just like, the third one's unnecessary. Well, what are you going to tell? That's what I want to see. So Ollie's got something to say, so here you go.
Yeah, you saying that, you said that about the first one. You said, well, it doesn't need to be a sequel. And then you're watching, you're like, oh my god, this is great. Whereas it could be the same with the third one.
Yeah.
It could be like, this could be necessary. Or it could be like, yeah, they did too much. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But very curious when it's going to come out, because they've just announced it. And it's like, they've just come out.
Yeah, I very much like what they did here, because they still absolutely honoured the first one, and they absolutely honoured Maximus, like, so much. Like, not to the point where it's just like, oh yeah, we get it, the first one was good, you know. I think they did it in such a great way of telling, you know, that Maximus was important, you know, and like his reach across the land, you know, in the gladiator area. It's just, they told it really well, especially with the recap at the start of the film. Like, it was
it's not live action. It
was like an animated crayon drawing over it, and I thought it was really beautiful. I'm happy with how they honoured, you know, Maximus's legend in this film, and like showing flashback scenes as well.
Yeah.
I think they did it perfectly, absolutely. And to be able to tell, because I hate when films or series do this, when they do a flashback scene and there isn't a colour filter over it, because I watch things with my granny, and whenever there's like a flashback scene, she can't always tell, because she thinks, oh, okay, we've skipped this one. Oh, it's all done now. So when there's like a black and white filter or something like that makes it look like a memory or something, that always helps. And obviously, if you're a diehard fan, of course, you know, you wouldn't need it. But thankfully, for most people, a color filter or something on the flashback always helps. So.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect example. Yeah, so it wasn't actually fully black and white, but it was enough to convince you to think that. Like, it wasn't completely black and white, but it was like slightly desaturated. It was kind of like that kind of blend between the two, color and black and white, to make you at least, you know.
Tell that, this is in the past.
Yeah.
There's quite a few good quotes in here. My favourite one that stuck with me actually for some reason is that, you know, wood or steel, a point is still a point. And I was just like, I like that one. I know it's told in like the most gruesome way because he's killing someone while doing it, but it works, and I like that. The mother of Lucius, she dies, and I don't think they gave enough time to that, if that makes sense. because she got shot, and it's just like, oh, and she's like, go, my son. And he's like, okay, and runs off. I just thought, you know, your mother just died. You gonna do anything about it? Well, I get obviously, you know, chasing after the dude who actually did it, but you know, I guess that's what they did at the end. You know, it's just like mother, you know, something. I don't know. I just felt that was a tad little bit rushed. And I had one more thing. I had genuinely one more thing in my head, and it's gone. Oh yeah, that's it. That's what I was gonna say. I know. I remembered it. I remembered. Obviously, we went in watching this film knowing that, we're following a grown-up Lucius. But the film doesn't tell you it's Lucius until about halfway, I'd say. And I feel like if you didn't know it was Lucius, the film works a little bit better. As you're just like, who's this guy we're following? You know, and, you know, because it had that mystery of, like, you know, your past and stuff. So it's just like, you know, who are you then? It's just like, why does it matter? You know? And then as you get the reveal, you're just like, oh, that's Lucius.
But did you know it was him?
Yeah, of course I did. Of course I knew it was him.
Saying that in perspective of everyone else that doesn't.
Yeah, so if you went into this film thinking, oh, new Gladiator film, you're watching it, you know, say, big fan of the other, you know, the original.
Yeah.
But if you went into this film knowing it's Lucius, I still question it. I thought, is that Lucius? Is that Lucius? Yeah, it's Lucius. But if you go in without knowing it's Lucius, I think you do get a slightly better, experience watching it. Oh, and even though I knew it was Lucius, it was cool finding out what happened to him literally right after the first film ends. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, rating. So obviously I gave the first one a 7 because I thought it was alright. I enjoyed it. It had great moments and everything. The story was great. He thinks I know what I'm going to give it. But does he know that I think it's a bloody masterpiece? No. Well, there you go. I think it's a masterpiece. I think the second one's 10 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Genuinely,
okay.
10 out of bloody 10. I really enjoyed this one. The action, the cinematography, like the visuals, all of it, brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah, okay, I guess the shark bit is a bit off. But for me, that doesn't take away much from the film because it's there and then it's gone. You know, like they don't bring it up again. Yeah. It's, yeah, you know, it's what they did in the first film. It's just like, look, we're recreating the battle of the barbarians. And this one's like, we're recreating the battle of the first part of the film. You know, but other than that, you know, you'd say I'll give it a 9 then. Nah, I really like this film. So I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10, which is why I don't want a sequel to it. Which is why I'm scared now, because the first one was alright. Second one for me, 10 out of 10. Abso-bloody-lutely. And like I said, I think it ended beautifully. Like with the music, the hand, all of it, 10 out of 10. So what the hell are you going to do with the third one? Because like I can understand, like the first one had.
That's what everyone was like with this one, though.
Really?
Like...
Well, I mean, yeah, I can understand because I watched the first one really recently, and I was just like, it's all right, but it's a complete story. But then watching the second one, you just think, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You know, we're missing parts of the story. Okay, that makes sense. But I feel like they wrapped it up really well with the second one. So the third one, I'm like, what the hell are you going to do with it? I'm sure maybe in however many years, if we're still doing this, hopefully, that we do review the third film. I hope I can say that one was just as good. You know, I hope the story made sense. But for now, I think if you watch 1 and 2 together, it's a complete bloody story and it's fantastic. Because it makes sense with Lucius, absolutely. Also, I was scared that they were going to kill Lucius and do like a thing, but I'm glad they didn't. I really am. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Absolutely loved this film. I thought it was brilliant. All of it. Beginning to end. Yeah, it had a little iffy bit in the middle with the sharks and the boats, but masterpieces are always flawed. Anyway, final rating to end this off. Gladiator 1, 7 out of 10. Gladiator 2, 10 out of 10. That's what I can say. Yeah, thanks for watching. And I hope my opinions don't kill people. Yeah. Bye!